They say the mountains reveal your true self. I never believed that until the night my marriage shattered on a cliff edge in the Appalachian wilderness. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how a burner phone, a storm, and a 12-year lie changed everything I thought I knew about love and betrayal. What started as an anniversary trip to reconnect became the most devastating and liberating experience of my life. My husband Marcus had planned every detail perfectly: the romantic trail, the secluded campsite, the timing. What he hadn't planned for was me finding his secret phone hidden in his hiking boot during a rainstorm. Inside were hundreds of messages to another woman, photos of our home, and detailed plans for a life that didn't include me. This is the raw, unfiltered truth about what happens when the person you trust most becomes a stranger, and how I turned my darkest moment into my greatest revenge. The rain started just after sunset. Marcus was organizing our gear inside the tent while I attempted to keep the campfire alive under increasingly hostile skies. That's when I noticed his boot, expensive, brand new, sitting outside the tent flap. Something about the way it sat there bothered me. Call it intuition or paranoia, but I picked it up. The weight felt wrong. I pulled out the insole and my heart stopped. A sleek black phone, not the one he'd been using all day, slipped into my hand. My fingers were shaking as I powered it on. No password. That should have been my first red flag. Marcus password protected everything. The screen lit up with notifications, dozens of them, all from someone named Melissa. The preview of the latest message made my blood run cold. Can't wait until you leave her. 2 more days and we're free. I couldn't stop scrolling. Each message was another knife to my chest. I love you more than anything, he'd written just yesterday. Can't wait to start our real life together. There were voice notes I couldn't bring myself to listen to. Photos of them on hiking trails I recognized, trails he'd told me he was doing solo for training. Screenshots of apartment listings with hearts next to his favorites. Budget spreadsheets calculating how much money he'd have after the divorce. He'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. The most painful discovery was a message from 3 weeks ago. The anniversary trip is perfect timing. I'll tell her on day 3 when we're too far in for her to bail, then I'll hike back down to you and we start fresh. My vision blurred. This entire trip was a setup. A cruel, calculated ending disguised as a romantic gesture. Babe, you coming? It's getting worse out there. Marcus's voice cut through the rain. I stood frozen at the cliff edge, gripping his phone, my mind racing. I had maybe 30 seconds before he came looking for me. 30 seconds to decide whether to confront him here, miles from civilization, or play along with his sick game. The phone buzzed again. Melissa, I love you so much. Delete these before she sees them. Too late. I turned around slowly as his footsteps approached. The instant he saw what I was holding, his entire face changed. Color drained from his cheeks, his hands shot up defensively. Sarah, he started. Don't, I cut him off, my voice surprisingly steady despite the storm raging inside me. Don't you dare say another word. Lightning flashed overhead, illuminating the guilt written across his face. This wasn't just an affair. This was a betrayal so calculated, so cold, it took my breath away. How long? I demanded, my voice competing with the thunder. Marcus looked like he might be sick. It's not what you think. How long? I screamed. The truth came out in broken whispers. 8 months. 8 months of lying, sneaking around, planning his exit while I went to marriage counseling alone. While I cried myself to sleep wondering what I'd done wrong, while I planned this anniversary trip hopping to save us. The hiking club was real at first, he stammered, rain streaming down his face. But then I met Melissa and she just understood me in ways you never. I stepped forward, fury overwhelming fear. Don't you dare blame me for your affair, you made a choice. Every single day for 8 months you chose to lie to my face. His excuses kept coming, but I wasn't listening anymore. I was reading more messages, discovering the depth of his deception and forming a plan. What Marcus didn't know was that I'd been documenting his strange behavior for weeks. Not for divorce, not yet, but because something felt wrong. I'd hired a private investigator 3 weeks before this trip. I had photos of him entering Melissa's apartment building, bank statements showing cash withdrawals near her neighborhood, hotel receipts, everything I needed for a very favorable divorce settlement. But standing there in the rain, watching him squirm, I realized documentation wasn't enough. I wanted him to feel what I felt. The humiliation, the betrayal, the shattering of reality, so I started forwarding messages, one after another, to my phone first, then to his mother, his boss, his best friend, the hiking club group chat, everyone he'd lied to about working late or solo training hikes. His phone started buzzing uncontrollably with incoming calls and messages. The panic in his eyes was almost satisfying. Sarah, stop please. Marcus lunged for the burner phone, but I stepped back, my heel inches from the cliff edge. We can talk about this, we can work it out. His desperation would have been funny if it wasn't so pathetic. Work it out, I laughed, and the sound was sharp enough to cut. You mean the way you worked it out by planning to abandon me on a mountain, by budgeting my half of our savings into your new life, by telling your lover that I'm controlling and impossible? His phone kept buzzing. His mother, Marcus, call me immediately. His boss, we need to discuss this Monday morning. The hiking club group chat exploded with messages, his reputation crumbling in real time. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice deadly calm. You're going to pack your things, you're going to hike down this mountain tonight, and you're going to go straight to Melissa. Marcus packed his gear with shaking hands while his phone rang endlessly with calls he didn't answer. The reality of his exposure was sinking in. His mother knew, his boss knew, his friends knew, the entire hiking community knew. When he finally shouldered his pack and turned toward the trail, he looked like a broken man. "I'm sorry," he whispered one last time. "No," I said quietly, "you're just sorry you got caught." I watched him disappear down the dark trail, swallowed by rain and fog, his headlamp bobbing until it vanished completely. Then I collapsed inside the tent and sobbed for 3 hours straight. But when dawn broke over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, something had shifted inside me. The tears had washed away the shock. What remained was clarity, and anger, and determination. The divorce took 6 months. Thanks to my evidence and Marcus's own incriminating messages, I got the house, the car, and most of our savings. His lawyer tried arguing for reconciliation. Apparently Melissa had dumped him 2 weeks after the hiking trip when she realized how public his humiliation had become. She'd had a boyfriend the whole time, using Marcus for free outdoor adventures. The irony was delicious. His hiking club expelled him. His mother didn't speak to him for almost a year. His company suggested he transfer to Denver for a fresh start, corporate code for "we can't have you here anymore." Meanwhile, I threw myself into healing. Therapy helped, so did joining a real hiking group, one full of supportive women who'd been through similar betrayals. We became like family, and slowly the broken pieces of my heart started fitting back together in a different, stronger pattern. 1 year later, I stood at a different trailhead with my new hiking group, 8 amazing women who'd become my closest friends. We were planning a through hike, and for the first time in years, I was genuinely excited about the future. Rachel, a woman who'd gone through a similar betrayal, had become someone special to me. We were taking things slow, building trust brick by brick. "You ready?" she asked, adjusting her pack. I looked up at the trail ahead, both the literal path winding into the mountains and the metaphorical journey stretching into my future. The broken trail was behind me. Every shattered piece of my old life, every lie, every moment of pain, I'd left it all on that mountain with Marcus. This trail was new, uncharted, mine. "Yeah," I said, shouldering my pack as Rachel squeezed my hand. "I'm ready," and I was. Looking back, that rainstorm on the mountain was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because betrayal feels good, it doesn't. The pain was real, deep, and took months to process. But it freed me from a life built on lies. Marcus had tried to break me, but instead he broke the chains holding me to a marriage that had died years before I found that phone. The moral of my story isn't about revenge, though that initial satisfaction was real. It's about recognizing your worth. It's about refusing to be a victim of someone else's cowardice. It's about understanding that sometimes the trails that break us are the ones that lead us exactly where we need to be. Today, I'm stronger, happier, and surrounded by people who value honesty and loyalty. The broken trail taught me that endings, no matter how painful, can become the most beautiful beginnings.